Welcome into the PHNX Suns Postgame Show presented by Four Peaks. Sports just aren't the same without a Four Peaks in hand. I'm Lindsay, that's all. Espo will be joining us shortly, as well as Gerald Bourget from the Footprint Center, where the Phoenix Suns defeated the Golden State Warriors 119 to 116. Draymond, no problem. Steph, no problem. You name it, the Suns got it done tonight. We got a dub against the Dubs. Here comes Espo, everybody. I never know what to do.
He's breathing so hard behind my ear. Jesus. It's really odd. For you audio listeners, that's Espo playing the sax behind us.
He was. Espo had to bust out all the moves for tonight's win. How you guys feeling after that one?
I couldn't find that damn sax anywhere in my office.
I'm okay. I'm a little bitter at Bradley Beal, but that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what? There ain't no bitterness over here. Hallelujah! Bradley Beal is back. Drop it.
Look at the banner.
Look at that. That's right.
Oh,
There's
snap.
a banner. Bradley Beal hitting that first three, bringing me back, baby. We are back.
You know what's so funny is for a guy who says he didn't really care, he sure cares a lot now.
Oh, of course I care when I can gloat.
So here's the deal, everybody. We normally do our pregame bets at the end of the show, but because Espo hit his at the top of the game, we may as well just talk about it real quick right now. Espo won his bet. He took Bradley Beal to hit the first exact bucket tonight of the game with a 3-point shot. And Bradley Beal made it. And Espo made $360 off of it.
So plus 3,500.
Yeah.
And this dude hit it. Can we see that leaderboard? Do we have a... We'll get to it.
We'll get to all of that. But
I have a banner about it now.
We
though.
will get to all of that later in the show. We'll show you guys numbers. But one number we can talk about real quick is Adam's super chat. Adam sent us $100 and said, "Here is cash in honor of Espo's hit." However, Beal's first game back, the bet made sense. Missed it at plus 350 or 3,500, but Lindsay's consistent winning still deserves recognition. Good win despite late game issues. Big 3 tomorrow, so we can start to see what we really have.
Consistent winning, yes, except
Fingers
for tonight.
crossed. Yeah, I didn't win tonight. I did it.
Is this dude the commissioner of the NBA in disguise?
But
Right.
thank
Dropping
you,
big
Adam
bucks?
Silverman.
His big disguise day was
Just
adding
throw
a man.
Throw a man to the end of it. Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of funny.
that'd be funny.
That'd be actually hilarious. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate you sending us the super chat and all of you for being here. Let's dive into it. Obviously, the big storyline today was that Bradley Beal returned after missing essentially a month of action. What are you guys' initial thoughts of what you saw from Bradley Beal tonight?
I mean, he was rusty. You could tell he was rusty. He was hesitant. He was trying to find it. It's going to take him a couple games to kind of get back into the flow and be good. But I thought, he did. Listen, the biggest thing was he got through the game and he was healthy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so that's step number one. Number two, he had a couple spots where he was good. I think the thing about Bradley Beal that I'm going to really, really focus on a lot is just like with Booker in learning how to win and win big games when the moment provides, as he kind of went through his career. Bradley Beal has been stuck in Washington in mediocrity for so long. I'm really curious to see his development and kind of realizing that like things need to get like significantly better if you have any hope to win a championship. So I thought there was a couple times out there on the court where it just looked like he was rusty on both offense and defense. But, hey, listen, I'm not worried about him at all. I'm sure he's going to be able to bounce back at some point and give us some big, big games. I thought at the end of the game, though, I would have liked to see him be a little bit more aggressive because he was deferring to everybody else, and everybody else was turning the ball over. You got just take it, because Book wasn't able to get the ball because they were trying to double him the whole time. So the ball was going to everybody else. Brad, you're the dude. You're the other dude. You got to take the ball. You can't be deferring to everybody else. So
look like a guy that missed a month. The shots, the looks were there. He was missing shots that he typically hit. Even on TNT, they showed that highlight package of him coming off double screens, getting kind of the looks that he got in Washington. Makes sense that his legs aren't fully there under him right now after missing as much time as he did, especially with a back issue. You're not doing much of anything, at least early on with that. So made sense. I agree. Probably a little more passive in the fourth than you would have liked him to be, but also that's a guy that's not quite familiar with the guys he's out there with and not quite sure when to take over, when not yet. For first game back, I liked what I saw, and he took care of business for me, so I'm not going to complain.
I agree. Yeah. I do think that you could see earlier on in the game, it felt like after about 3 to 4 minutes, he would get a little winded, a little gassed.
Yeah,
I feel like, surprisingly enough, in the fourth quarter, he actually looked like he found a little bit more of his lungs, which is not something I feel like you would normally say in one entire game. Usually it's the next game around. But I did like what I saw from him in the fourth quarter. I do get your point of being a little more aggressive, but
yeah, he
did get more aggressive, I think, in the fourth quarter than in the beginning of the game. Like, progressively, it got better.
Like, it took him, he was getting to the basket, and then he was running the baseline a couple times, and I'm like, Brad, you're right there. Go up for the shot. And then he would pass it out, and sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. But again, not concerned about his conditioning. It'll come. Listen, game shape is different than practice and off the court conditioning. It's just a completely different ball game, and so it'll take him a little bit of time to adjust. And hey, if KD comes back tomorrow, it'll be a little bit easier for him to adjust for sure.
Yeah, and I also think for Beal too, like, there were moments in this game where I feel like he was moving off the ball really well, and then there were moments where it was like, can you move, please? Like, just do something. Like, he got caught standing around a little bit too.
Yes.
So I think we saw both, and it gives me hope. I'm choosing to look at the positive, that it gives me hope once he gets a little bit more comfortable, finds his rhythm, feels good with the guys out there, that off-ball movement will be huge for us.
You have to put pressure on the defense from every one of your pieces on the court. You can't be a non-factor by taking yourself out, and that's something that he'll grow to adjust to as they go along, because there was an opportunity there at one point where it was basically Booker and Goodwin kind of passing the ball between themselves, because Bradley Beal is all the way over there basically right by Vogel, and he's not even looking like he's going to cut to the basket or anything like that. And those are the things that will come with time, and repetition. So not too concerned. I thought it was a good start because they won. He had 16, not a terrible night, and he'll be better as we move forward.
Yeah, 6 in the fourth. I don't have any complaints, but I am surprised he played 27 minutes. I think, to me, that pretty much says he's not going to go tomorrow night on a back-to-back, and he'll probably be back on Friday, which is when we'll see the big three, which was always kind of, at least in our discussion yesterday, what the group had thought. So, I don't see him going back-to-back after hard-fought tonight.
Beal?
Yeah, I don't see it.
Vogel said at the beginning of the game that that's the plan.
Yeah,
I think listen, I would normally agree with you if this was last year and any other year in the past 10, right? With the load management and all this other stuff. I feel like there has been a significant change in terms of players sitting out now. Mm-hmm. And I think, listen, why would you bring back Bradley Beal at all if you're going to rest him again right in game number 2 of a back-to-back? Like, if he's not ready, then he's not ready.
I understand, because you want to see how the body reacts. You also want to ease it back in, because I get this whole, like, if they're good to go, they're good to go. But also, being good to go doesn't mean that you're in tip-top peak shape either.
Sure.
And that your body can handle that type of load.
I didn't think his workload tonight was really taxing at all.
That bad
I really
either.
thought that the 27 minutes he played, I would say he probably had about maybe 12 to 14 active minutes out there. Other than that, I did see a lot of standing around. Wasn't as aggressive as I expect him to be as we move forward down the line. And I would be shocked if he didn't play tomorrow, to be honest.
The reason they brought him back tonight is what you brought up. It's the new rules. They had him listed as full participant in practice for 2 days. They made him available. If they had sat him tonight out of either night, they would have triggered those rules because it was a national television game. Friday's another national television game. It would not shock me if KD goes tomorrow and Beal gets a rest or play significantly less minutes to try to make sure they don't aggravate that back.
I would be okay if he just played less minutes. Even if he's only out there for like 15 to 18 minutes, I would be okay with that. I feel like sitting, while I genuinely understand why, I think it's just a bad look.
Well, and not only that, but also the back specialist said that, too much rest is not a good thing for your back anyway. Like, I just think that, hey, listen, he wouldn't be back if he wasn't 100%. Like, at any point in time, he could go down with his back re-aggravated again. It could be Friday if he sat out tomorrow. We don't know. So go out and just play him. Might as well play him. Well, he's already sat out most of the season except for 3 games until tonight. Play him. He's making a lot of money. Play him.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out tomorrow, you guys. We'll keep you posted. All right. We talked about Bradley Beal. Let's look at his stat line as well as Devin Booker's in our Triple Money presented by Arizona Lottery. Don't forget to get out and buy your holiday scratchers. So Bradley Beal finished tonight with
16 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists.
And he's not grayed out. Yay!
He's back.
Can't wait
He also had a steal and a block in there as well.
I can't wait for all 3 of these guys to not be grayed out.
I know. Well, we're getting close. We're getting close. Devin Booker finished with 32 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. I can't see that. My contacts are all blurry, so I can't see that.
It's like it's right there on the
I can't see it. Also, a steal and a block as well. Let's talk about what we saw from Devin tonight.
Well,
do you guys feel like he kind of picked sort of like an uphill, like he ramped up the entire game?
He doesn't have to force it. He doesn't have to force it. He picked apart the Warriors defense, especially in that third quarter. He was efficient as hell. The Warriors had no chance when they tried to double team Book. He was trusting his teammates, and hey, listen, you got to give the bench a lot of credit, or maybe not the bench, but you got to give the other guys not named Bradley Beal and Devin Booker a lot of credit for stepping up, hitting big time shots in order to free up Book later on in the game. Because once Booker started exposing them offensively with his passing, they really couldn't allow those guys to keep getting wide open shots. Mm-hmm. So they had to manipulate their defense and rely on one-on-one, and Book just torched them after that. And listen, he knows how he's just continuously finessing his game in order to make sure that he's as effective as possible. And tonight was just another example of that.
Yeah.
Book went full Armani mode in the fourth, right? They go on a 12-0 run there in the fourth to kind of open up the game before what we saw in the final 2 minutes, but he had 10 of those 12. He was doing a little everything. It culminated in that reverse dunk off of a nice play by Goodwin as well. That was, in that fourth quarter, prototypical Book, what we've expected from him, and it was great to see him come out with that kind of an offensive explosion after very much controlling the game from the point guard position for the first 3 quarters and really being in control there. It kind of reminded me back in the day when Chris Paul would do that here for the first 3 quarters. He'd just kind of make sure everybody got theirs, that everybody was in position, and then he'd find a way in fourth quarter minutes to kind of turn it on offensively. Book did it to perfection.
I call it the rope-a-dope. You just kind of like, you don't realize what's happening, and then all of a sudden you're knocked out in the fourth.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Like, hey, hold on. I wasn't prepared for that. That's why Devin tonight is going to be our big, bright, shiny star.
I am a big, bright, shining star.
So congratulations to Devin Booker, looking good with A little cleanup mustache, some sunglasses.
Why did we add the shades?
On our
He's a
big, bright,
flex.
shiny star.
Is that why we did
Yes,
it?
because I
'Cause-
said Nurk looked like him, and then we put the shades on it to see if it looked like Nurk, and the shades just stuck.
And they just
It
just
makes
stuck
sense. He's a
around.
shining star.
They
You
look
need
like-
sunglasses.
bright.
Future's so bright.
They look
You
like
need
narcs.
shades.
Hey, he's got to wear the
They
shady
look
rays.
They look like narcs. That looks like an undercover.
Anti-hero
We don't want him
basketball
to be
club,
the op.
baby.
We don't want them to be the op. I will say when we were for tonight's game, I would have liked to, while I understand Frank Vogel and the decision to kind of split up Book and Beal, I would have liked to have seen them play together a little bit more before the fourth quarter. Just a little bit.
A little bit. But he was trying to stagger him, and he was trying to give Beal. Listen, he was going 5-minute spurts, and Devin was going the opposite. So
Mhm.
I'm cool with the way it all unfolded. Listen, they were together on the floor for the last 5 minutes of the game. That's the most important part. That was that's the clutch time minutes, and like I said, Beal's going to learn from this, and he's going to get better and better and better. And the stronger he gets, the better this team's going to be.
And, we'll see when you have the big three, that rotation. There's always going to be two of them on the court, right, is the sense in a lot of this. So imagine that rotation. Sure, maybe you don't have Book and Beal on the court all the time, but you'll have Book and Katie or Katie and Beal or, and it starts to make more sense. I got it tonight because you wanted Beal to be more that secondary initiator where we've seen Eric Gordon have to play that role, some other guys who haven't been able to do it. Beal's kind of expected to be that now for this team that he's back. So I don't mind the rotation, and to Saul's point, you bring them back in to close it out, which is the ideal there. So.
Yeah, I think for me, because we've lost so much time with the two of them, which I said in the pregame show, I'm not stressed about their chemistry building and growing. Honestly, maybe a little bit quicker than I think a lot of us anticipated. That's where I'm at right now. I do think we've lost a lot of time. Like, the more that they're able to do that, the better. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
But
I
again,
agree.
it's one game.
Mhm.
Limited minutes for Bradley Beal.
Well, and then
a weird situation with all the other injuries, so I understand.
And as Bradley Beal ramps up more and more and more, he's going to play more on the court. And once he gets to like that 32, 34 minute range, he'll be on the court with Booker a lot more. So, I mean, obviously we're worried about the chemistry, but it'll work itself out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to worry about anything with our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union. For more than 84 years, they have been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union. And right now, when you open a free checking account online, you're going to get $200 in bonuses. So get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200.
I wish
Who
I
couldn't use an extra 200 right now?
I could have used it tonight to put on that bet.
Even more money
that would have been
in your
nice.
pocket. Absolutely. Also, make sure you check out our friends over at Arizona Lottery and get your holiday scratchers today. They start at just $1 and you can win prizes up to $500,000. So go out and buy your holiday scratchers today. Find a retailer like our friends over at Circle K near you at ArizonaLottery.com. You must be 21 or older to play. All right, Eric, you ready to take a look at the numbers? Also presented by our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union named by Forbes.
What's in the box is a 119-116 win. Free throws, a big reason for the Suns tonight. They shot 29 of 34 for 85%. Well, the Warriors only got to the line 27 times, hitting only 18 of them there. Points off of turnovers, or POTO, as we call it here.
We love POTO.
Warriors actually had the advantage here, 25-15. A lot of that coming in the final 2 minutes. Points in the paint, though, in favor of the Suns, 46-36. And rebounds in favor of the Warriors tonight, 51-41. That's how you get a 119-116 Phoenix Suns win.
Actually, the points in the paint is wrong. The points in the paint is
opposite.
46 for the Warriors and 36 for the Suns. Listen, the Warriors outdid the Suns in a lot of these categories, but the reason why it evened up was because of those free throws and drawing those fouls. Like, again, something that the Suns had missed before. And in terms of, not being able to get to the free throw line, DeAndre Ayton not being as aggressive last year, Devin Booker not getting as many calls. They were a very mid-range shooting team, so they didn't really force the issue at the rim. But with Nurk being as aggressive as he is at the rim, Booker finding another gear, Kevin Durant in the fold now. Like, a lot of these guys are being able to draw a lot of contact, so they get to the free throw line a lot more. And additionally, I think the thing that we also miss a lot as well is that it's not just about attacking the rim. Because of their pressure at the rim, those little ticky-tack things that are happening around the perimeter or throughout the game, when they're already in the bonus, well, guess what? Now we're shooting free throws when we're like 5 or 6 minutes left in the quarter. So it's all paying off all the way through each quarter, and the Suns are reaping the dividends of that.
Yeah, I mean, Nurk had 11 of them tonight, and Nurk, Beal, and Booker combined for 23 of the 34 free throws. So, I mean, this is not the team, like you mentioned, that we've seen the last few years. And I like that Nurk is able to put that pressure on them down low at times and really get to the line and capitalize on it. He deserves a lot of credit, in particular, for that free throw discrepancy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about it before as well, but Book also getting to the charity stripe more this year than we saw, it seems like, all of his career, basically. Bradley Beal got to the line 7 times tonight. He did miss 2. He was 5 of 7 from that charity stripe. But when you have guys who are putting up substantial minutes, getting to the line this many times on a regular basis, it's going to make your lives a lot easier in winning games.
Yeah, and that number is just going to go up for Beal, too, as he gets more comfortable, returns to kind of that aggressive form that he's known for. You'll see that number even creep into that 10, 11, 12 kind of range where we saw Nurk tonight, too.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. We talked about Book. We talked about Beal. We've talked about the numbers. Let's go ahead and name our PHNX Factor of the night. We're going to give it to
Jordan Goodwin. He was fantastic. Listen, when you talk about Jordan Goodwin, you cannot say enough good things about him. The one thing that keeps standing out for me, tonight he played 30 minutes, and I think you got a full show in terms of what he could provide. He had 16 points tonight, I believe, 16, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. For a smaller guard, he is uber aggressive in rebounds, at the rim, around the basket. You just don't see that very often from a lot of the smaller guards in the league. He's just a stout defender. I love everything about him, and I thought he had one of the better plays of the game when there was a loose ball. He dove on it. He was able to get it to Book. Book obviously had the reverse slam dunk, and they were off to the races in the middle of that run. So I can't say enough things about Jordan Goodwin. I think he needs more playing time, is what I'm saying. Yeah. I feel like the 12 to 14 to 16 minutes that he gets, it's starting to not be enough because he has such an impact on the game. I'm looking at, hey, if there's an opportunity to get him, 18 to 20 minutes a game, really gotta look at that because he deserves it, and he's proven that he can produce at a high level when he gets those minutes. So I love the guy. He's one of my favorite players on this team.
He's so easy to root for too, because it seems like even when he has, rough moments or even full games, the effort is still there. And I think that's something that a lot of fans can really get behind. And so he makes it easy to want him to succeed.
Sure. I mean, played 30 minutes tonight, and what made every one of those 30 minutes efficient and effective. I mean, he had the block, the 2 steals, the 6 assists, I think, stand out to me too. He was another guy that was out there helping Book distribute and take care of that ball. It wasn't all having to fall on Booker tonight, and only had the 1 turnover. I could see, and we'll talk about this a little bit, I'm sure, but the Josh Okogie hip injury, I think, opens up additional minutes for Goodwin now too. Depending on how long he's out, you're going to need, his presence a little bit more, especially on the defensive side. So while an injury is never a good thing, it could be that opportunity for Jordan Goodwin to take those additional minutes and really shine in that role.
He absolutely should. He absolutely should. And listen, There was a couple comments earlier about Josh Okogie, and they were negative. And I'm like, of all nights to be negative on Josh Okogie, tonight was not one of them. He shot the ball very, very well. He was having his best game of the season shooting wise. I think he hit like 3 threes.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. What else do you want from the guy? And then he gets hurt, unfortunately, with that hip injury that's been repetitive for him. So hopefully he gets healthy. But in the meantime, we talked about in the pregame about when you get your opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. And ironically enough, in the pregame, I talked about Frank Vogel talking about Bol getting an opportunity at some point. I did not think it was going to be tonight. He got his opportunity, but we do need to talk about somebody else that could have also been the X factor.
Can I bring one last thing on Goodwin? Plus minus is such horse crap, right? He was a -10 tonight. And the eye test tells you that man was anything but negative on his impact in this game. And I know a lot of people are talking about the guy that I think you want to transition into and his plus minus being a plus 28. And I don't think that shows you effectively how these guys play. But, Chimezie Metu played fantastic tonight as well, especially in that first half when he got the start.
Yeah. I the plus minus, I never look at it because it's absolute horseshit trash. And every time Eric puts it on the graphic, I want to just throw my shoe at him because it's a worthless stat. Chimezie Metu, though, needed to play a little bit more than he played tonight. Yes. I don't know what happened to him. Like in the second half, he had a couple threes in that third quarter, and then he kind of just disappeared because he was out of the game. And I don't know if it's just Frank Vogel forgetting that he had taken him out or whatever, but Chimezie probably should have had about 25 to 30 minutes tonight because he was okay. There you go. 30 minutes I thought would have been good. He was really, really good tonight. And I said again in the pregame, when you get your opportunity, you have to take advantage of it. And Chimezie in the starting lineup for the first time this season showed out. Like he missed his first couple of shots, and then after that he was off to the races. And he was definitely reliable from the perimeter, was cashing up from Booker passes. He was amazing tonight, and I really like what he brings to the table. I love the fact that he was chirping at Draymond when Draymond took that stupid ass cheap shot at Nurkic. He was chirping at him, and I love it because you want to defend your team.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm happy for Chimezie. I think that tonight he really showed Frank Vogel that he can be relied on to knock down those threes. And that's something we've been talking about all season as well. That might be, if we're talking KBD and Chimezie, 1A, 1B, who Frank's going to call first, I think it's Chimezie right now, 100%. And not just because we literally saw it tonight, but because what we're seeing from Chimezie when he does get those opportunities.
Well, I think KBD is struggling on the offensive side.
Yes.
And he's struggling so bad that it outweighs the defensive, efficiency that he does have. So when you bring in Chimezie and he gives you a little bit of both. Now, he's not as adept at defense as KBD is, but he is far better on offense right now than KBD is. And those two outweigh each other compared to KBD. So right now, again, when you get your opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. KBD had an opportunity there for a couple minutes, and he kind of blew it. He missed a wide open three, turned the ball over. Like, you can't do that if you want to get some run on this team because they have places they need to go, and they don't have time to sit there and wait for you to figure it out in game number 23 when you've been in the lineup this entire season. Like, you've had plenty of opportunities to get it together personally, and KBD has just he's not played at a high level of late. He's been really bad on offense. And when you see somebody like Metu, hey, you're going to give him the minutes because he deserves it.
I mean, Kev in the chat said it opened up for Book when Metu hit those threes.
Yes.
And it absolutely did. I mean, not just Metu, but some of the other guys as well on the team. We were seeing Book get doubled at half court. Like, immediately. Halfway through the game, not even late in the game. And if it wasn't for guys hitting those open shots that they were getting because of it, they would have continued to do that the entire game. But instead, like you said a few minutes ago, they had to switch it up. And then Book was able to cook because he only had one defender on him. Like, you need those guys to knock down those threes because it opens things up more for your big three to even thrive. Like, you just got to.
Yeah, and that 4 spot has been a weakness on this team, in particular. In that starting lineup, they've gone small a lot. A lot of Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen in there together. I like Metu as that athletic guy with some floor spacing that can grab you some boards. I'd like to see him stay in that starting lineup for a while and see how that plays out. And either Grayson takes that Okogie spot when he's not back tomorrow, but when he comes back, maybe you give Goodwin a shot at it, depending on who's playing tomorrow. If KD's not out there, we assume KD's out there. So I want to see Metu with KD, with Nurk. I think it's interesting to get him out there and keep him out there. And he's earned it. He keeps playing well. And it was nice to see the three-pointer finally come back tonight in a big way, going 3 of 5 out there. I wish he'd gotten some more looks in that third and maybe early in that fourth because he was pretty hot in the first half, but a great night for Chimezie Metu.
I think you have a lot of flexibility right now if you're Frank Vogel. I usually I'm opposed to matching up against other teams, but I think if things are going according to plan and the way Metu's been playing, I think Metu and Grayson Allen are interchangeable in terms of what they can provide you and depending on the matchup that you have with the other team, right? Mm-hmm. If you're playing a smaller team, a team that they like to run or whatever, I would probably opt more for Grayson to be that fifth starter. But if you're playing a physical team, somebody like you would, you look at the Nuggets, for instance, I would probably opt more for Metu. And I think having that versatility with those two guys is fantastic. And again, I think we're also missing the fact that Nas Little is hurt. Yeah. He'll come back at some point. Grayson will come back, and KD will come back. And those three added to your lineup, I mean, 8-9 right now looks. You got to be pretty happy with where it could go.
Absolutely. All right, we are going to dive into some more shenanigans around this game. But first and foremost, I do want to remind you that our friends over at DraftKings are hooking you guys up with $150 in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball when you sign up using the bonus code PHNX. So make sure you don't miss out on the action. If you are a new customer, use that bonus code PHNX and you're going to get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, with that code PHNX. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. KS must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Help me, please, for the love.
Jurisdiction.
Guys, you hear my voice literally dying halfway through? See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources, eligibility, and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. That was not my best work.
It's
you guys are just going to have to deal with that one tonight. I apologize.
I'll give you an applaud.
We should record you saying it, and then you just move your mouth while it's going on, so that you're still technically saying
Lindsay,
it.
Next time I'll read it for you. You can do the ad. I'll do the disclaimer.
How about you do OGs real quick then?
Well, I don't have the ad sheet
well,
open.
you know about OGs.
I can't tell you about OGs.
Know about OGs.
Honestly,
they've only been our partner for 2 years.
I know. I just don't know what's in the red that I have to. Look, I love OGs. All the flavors are some of the best scratch-made gummies that you're going to find out there. And I love that it's locally made too. Mm-hmm. It's great to support a local Arizona company. They've been with us since the beginning and they do some amazing things. They're one of my favorite partners that we have. And I hadn't tried a gummy before them. And I love them. They're now part of my routine, and I appreciate everything that OGs has done. And if you haven't tried them, I highly recommend it. You can get them at your local dispensaries. Go out there, find them. The fruits, the creams, everything. It's
all you got to do is go to ogsbrands.com and find
your
closest dispensary, and they'll hook you up.
And you'll learn about all the deals and all the things. Okay, let's talk about some shenanigans from tonight's game. The first shenanigan is that a lot of people in the chat were saying that when they were watching the game, they felt like the broadcast made it appear as though Josh Okogie also got ejected when he didn't return to the game after halftime. And I don't know what happened. I must have missed that.
I didn't catch that at all.
I'm just telling you what the chat is saying. And that's some shenanigans because Josh Okogie got hurt. That's why he didn't return to tonight's game. It was not because he got ejected like Draymond. And Gerald did tweet out an update from Frank Vogel on Josh Okogie saying that he is dealing with that right hip injury and they doubt he'll be available tomorrow, but we'll have to wait on his official status. But I feel like if Vogel is already saying that they doubt he'll be available tomorrow, the likelihood of us seeing Josh Okogie tomorrow is slim to none.
Well, especially since this is a reoccurring thing, something we saw last year, and that's been an issue for him. So, I doubt we'll see him tomorrow and maybe not even Friday, depending on how serious it is. So.
Yeah. But who did get ejected was Draymond Green, because Draymond Green, I don't know what's going on with him. This was his 20th ejection. And it seems like it's just gotten so, I don't know what switch flipped with the whole Jordan Poole thing, but ever since then, and even a little bit before, but ever since then, it's gotten so bad, you guys.
This guy isn't a basketball player anymore. He's a sideshow. He's a guy that in many ways is a loose cannon out there. I mean, it always surprised me how unconcerned people were with what he did to Jordan Poole in that practice when it was, we've seen behavior on the court that was questionable at best from him. Tonight was another example of that. I mean, I don't understand how he was complaining to the refs after that. I mean, he full on swung on Nurk, because he didn't like that Nurk was holding him a little bit. Like it was not a rational adult approach to that. It's not even a fired up athlete approach to that. It's just dangerous, 100% dangerous and uncalled for. It's not basketball.
Draymond Green is only doing this because he knows that the NBA has a high intolerance for fighting. If this was 20 years ago, Draymond Green would be in about 50 fights during the course of a season. I couldn't even imagine a guy like Draymond Green trying to do this stuff to a Charles Oakley or a Charles Barkley
or a Shaq.
Like they'd have gone after it. But he's a cheap shot artist. That's all Draymond Green is. He's a cheap shot artist. He's a lowlife in basketball circles right now because it's a repetitive issue. And the problem with front runners, and that's what Draymond Green is, he's a flat out front runner, is that when things start to fall apart around you, you start to grasp at straws and you start to panic. And this is the result of that. So when Draymond Green comes on the basketball court, he's lost all credibility in my eyes. I used to sit there and think like he's a super intelligent basketball player, a defensive savvy, awesome, intelligent basketball player. Now he's just another guy that causes a bunch of issues for not only the NBA, but also amongst his teammates. His teammates have got to be tired of this whole shtick that he has. And he's got to screw loose. I don't know why. He just seems to think that he's above the law. And the NBA continuously gives him chance after chance after chance. At some point, NBA, you've got to eliminate this dude for a substantial amount of time that's going to affect him not only in his pockets, but also in his career. It should be 25 games. He should have got 25 games for the whole Rudy Gobert thing. I thought what he got was ridiculously low. Now he does this. He basically tried to throw a punch without throwing a punch is basically what he tried to do. He should get suspended for 25 games.
I think it started. He didn't get suspended for the whole Jordan Poole thing, did he?
No.
It was like a Warriors internal thing. That's where, to me, that's where you drop the ball. Well, something there needed to be done with that to set the precedent that it's not okay behind the scenes. It's not okay in front of the cameras. It's not okay, period, in this league.
The Jordan Poole thing to me is a little bit. I'm probably not in agreement with you both on that because yes, he punched the dude in the face. I get it. I get you. I get that point. But again, there was a lot of other stuff going on in that moment that led up to that. That's what the players have said. That's what Steve Kerr has said. There was things that have gone into that moment. So to me, I can at least understand that. Rudy Gobert at half court 20 feet or 20 yards away from you and not even really being a threat to any one of your teammates, and you running across the court to go choke him out, that's uncalled for. A sucker punch to Yusuf Nurkic because he's grabbing you around the waist, that's also uncalled for. And there's 100 other instances besides the Jordan Poole thing that we could point to as to why this guy should be suspended for a long period of time. Now, you could throw in the Jordan Poole thing to just accentuate your point for sure, but I just don't get why the NBA keeps letting him off the hook. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the Jordan Poole thing, when you put it in terms of anything else, is if I say that if I treat somebody like that at a YMCA and he punches me like that, that's assault. You do it in an office space, it's assault. Like that's
I don't care what industry you're in, you don't do that. You don't do that.
And I get it. If they got in their faces, they jawed at each other. You know, he said what they're punching somebody, and I just think it speaks to his character in general. And Draymond, to me, at this point, he gets a pass because people find him entertaining on the mic or, you know, in post-game stuff, or, you know, but that should not play a part in any of that. I don't care if you're jovial, not in those moments. You're still doing this in those moments. The league should punish him and severely at some point, because he's obviously not learning it. And at some point, somebody's going to retaliate on him if the league doesn't do it and teach him the lesson that way. And it's not going to be pretty for the league as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what's going on, but Nurk actually did talk about it tonight after the game. Here's what he said about the incident.